Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. And we have an exciting desk for you here today for some exciting games. We're getting into the quarterfinals, and it is going to be phenomenal. So we got 100 Thieves Nets, EG Prodigies, and joining me here on the desk today, I've got my ever so fabulous guest analyst, Smat, always here, putting in the hard knowledge. But we also have RBM in the house over here. And we also have Amelia Cosplay. How is everybody doing today?
Great, it's a good day.
Ready to game.
Woo!
Good.
Ready to game. I like it. Already ready to get into it. And like I said, it's the first day of quarterfinals. We just got off of some highly contested elimination matches. And now these teams, these players, some of them played yesterday in some really feisty matchups. And here we are back at them again. Smats. We have a team here already, Evil Genius Prodigies, who was a part of that yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday had some crazy games for Evil Genius's Prodigies. They took a series against Maryville 2-1. That series was insane. If you were here yesterday, I don't need to tell you that, but it was like a base race by the end of the first game, and then there was like jungle, just pandemonium in the other two. That was a really crazy series for Evil Geniuses, and they have their work cut out for them coming directly off of that game. Trying to prepare for 100 Thieves next, who are the undefeated team so far in this tournament. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, undefeated, but looking over across the table, you got RBM over here, who I have word he's ready to fight for his former teammates here on the side of EGP.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to give my pitch on the predictions. EGP, I have 2 ex-teammates from AoE, so know where my heart lies for this one for sure.
I have to see exactly if your heart is going to be in the right place here as the game goes on into the series. Amelia, you're coming in here, bringing in the finesse over here inside of the bot lane. And I'm kind of curious, what have you been into here as the solo queue season has started back up?
Enchanters are OP right now. Play them or you're trolling.
You heard this. This was your daily reminder here, your PSA. With that being said, I do want us to go ahead and show the bracket. Now, to show everybody exactly what the path is going to be, of course, we got 100 Thieves Nets and Evil Genius Prodigies over here for us. Over on the other stream, we have all sorts of other games going on as well, but you can see the path of these teams. And boy, oh boy, it feels like every single way I look, there is a raid boss in every single angle.
Some really tough teams for sure. I think this upper side of the bracket's really fun because, well, first of all, you've got 2 amateur teams that are affiliated with LCS going head-to-head right off the bat. Going to be really exciting. I think a lot of people predicted EG Prodigies to be first seed out of their group, but that didn't end up happening. You know, they got upset really early on by Taco Gaming. So this is a really interesting spot for them to be in. I think it's one that they're not super excited about going against 100 Thieves next. You know, Insanity coming straight out of LCS. They got the young Prodigy up in the top lane, so pretty tough matchup. And yeah, we still got GGS Academy in there as well. That matchup looks absolutely hilarious on name value alone against No Team, the team with the NFT logo. It's a good time.
I'm taking no team in that one as well for sure. That's a draft kingdom for Pucar leading into a free win.
Amelia, how are you feeling? You want to weigh in on this, on the bracket? You got a team that you're personally looking at?
I am not sure at the moment. I don't know. I mean, 100X's roster just looks really good to me.
I think a majority of people will agree with you on that. It is a disgusting roster.
Yeah, like, that team looks really good. I would definitely bet on them.
Amelia, I actually have a question for you. So for our matchup right now, which bot laner do you prefer to lane with? A Ray or a Sketch?
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Ray. I just think Ray is really good. I mean, Sketch is good, but like Ray is.
RBM's right here.
I would pick neither of them. Those guys are sick. They're sick in the head. Those guys are sick in the head. I'm not taking
no, it's
either.
your teammate, but Ray is. Got it.
These guys are freaks.
I think everybody can agree with that. And talking about it, the rosters, seeing how the games are going. I want to go ahead and throw it over to another graphic to show what games are going to be on what streams out here. We we are going to be, of course, having 100 Thieves Nets and EG Prodigies here for our first game. Then later on, afterwards, Taco Gaming taking on Immortals AoE. Where over on Unified Live, you will have Golden Guardians Academy taking on No Team, and you have Winthrop taking on Wild Card Gaming. So if you're interested in the games, whichever game you're interested in, we got 2 streams putting up hot action for you, and you can be sure to just click on those links and be able to find your way there. But we got 100 Thieves Nets. We got EG Prodigies here, and it's time to get into what this series has in store for us. Smats, I'm going to start it off with you. You're going into this matchup. You got anywhere in particular you're keeping your eye out on?
Yeah, definitely. I think the top lane is where I'm looking most directly right off the bat. Like I said before, Sniper is one of the most exciting prospects that we have in this entire tournament. It's his first competitive tournament. He wasn't old enough to play up until this split. So him coming in here has got a lot of eyes directly on his gameplay. And he's up against who I would consider to be the strongest looking player on Evil Genius's Prodigies in Faisal. This guy's team fighting has been phenomenal. As you can see right there, he's got an absurdly high kill participation stat right now. That's off of the back of some gangplank performances and some really solid series from him. I think his team fighting is really top notch. So I think whoever gets the lead early game in this lane is going to have a really high impact throughout the rest of it.
All right.
Yeah, jumping on
RPM.
that Faisal. Yeah, I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
Jumping on that, from what I know about Faisal, he's extremely versatile. As we were talking about before the cast, Shadow Sniper is like the carry king, right? And he's taking one in every game. But Faisal, like, even back towards the end of AoE, he could pull out the Ornn, and like we had a lot of success with that. But we have a ton of success on Camille and like Renekton. The guy's an overall beast on so many champs, so it's so interesting to see what he likes to pull out in every case.
And with that, Amelia, how are you feeling going into this series? Not necessarily about top lane. Is there anything that you're particularly keeping your eyes out on inside this matchup? Anything in the meta that you got your eye on?
I mean, I'm definitely going to be watching bot lane, of course, as a support player. I'm just excited to see enchanters again, because, you know, they didn't used to be so popular and competitive, but it feels like everyone's bringing out, like, the Karma, the Lulu lately, so I'm just hoping to see some of those enchanters bot lane and see how those matchups play out.
Me too. It's been a really cool meta because, like you said, it hasn't been at the forefront of competitive for such a long time. But it's just such a cool spot to be in. Like the new Glacial is being popularized on a lot of these enchanters as well. Things like the Lux and the Janna use it really well. And there's just a lot of hyper carries that are using the lethal tempo with like Jinx and Aphelios, and like Lulu works really well with that. I actually don't know if anyone has played Yuumi in this tournament so far, but around the world, people are like spamming that champion. It's getting banned a lot, so maybe this is the time that we actually finally get Yuumi. It would be fitting, you know? We've got you on here, Amelia. That'd be great.
The champ's so
great.
great.
It is. I think we've had one Yuumi game at all, but
really?
I think it lost. I'm trying to think right now, but I think it was like an Ezreal Yuumi game. But I don't think it was able to pop off the way they wanted it to. But I could be wrong on that. I could be misremembering, but we'll have to check on that. Seeing as the meta goes, and seeing as my desk is, you know, enchanted by enchanters, it seems like, I want to ask you guys, going over into this mid lane matchup, I'm personally very invested in this as well. Between 100 Thieves Nets and EG Prodigies, they've had some very bright moments inside this tournament.
The mid laner is really interesting. For Insanity, most of what we've seen from him has been like the scaling side, things like the Corki and the Victor, which, you know, you can't fault him for that when those champions are really broken right now. Leo definitely has gone the other way, especially in the series yesterday, playing more around activating the jungle for Winston. And I think if that stays the same, it'll clash in a really interesting way, and maybe Fnatic will get put a little bit farther behind than he's used to, because Winston has definitely taken that momentum that's given to him, or not. Did I say Winston? Perry. Sorry. Got my series yesterday mixed up. Perry has really taken that momentum from the mid lane really well. He's done a lot of like the farming style, like the Kayn that we saw yesterday that he completely popped off on. So I think that's something that Fnatic is definitely going to have to look out for, like maybe matching that with something like his Hecarim, or trying to match the early game as well. Maybe pop off in something like this in Zhao.
You think that's what we're going to see here in RBM? Are you looking at this matchup and seeing this jungle, and you're like, all right, it's Perry the Kid, 1v9, going in there, clutch? Or is this something that you think is going to be a little bit more of them playing around their teams?
I definitely love this jungle matchup. Fan is representing the old boomers, like myself, an OG in the scene, whereas Perry's like the new kid around the block. You know, he smurfed in scouting grounds. So I love the matchup a lot. I personally think Fan is probably going to be better. Fan was really, really good last split. Not quite as good as me, but that's fine. And I think he should have a jungle matchup with Kingdom, but I think Sketch Dreams will definitely take it home.
Okay, all right, I like it. The confidence is still there for RBM. It hasn't lessened whatsoever. Amelia, I'm going to hit you on a point that has happened time and time again here inside this tournament. I want to gather your thoughts on it. We have seen on Red side, people have been focus banning AD carries over and over again. How do you feel about that as a strategy going into a series like this? We've seen it so many times inside of this.
Honestly, I think it's pretty good. There is some pretty strong AD carries right now, and bot lane matchup can really determine a game. I mean, maybe I'm biased. I'm probably biased, but I think bot lane matchup is really important. So getting those AD carry bans out there is probably good.
I think you're right. I'm also a bot lane main though, so the problem is
also biased.
Since I'm the only one that's not biased, I'll jump in on this. AD carries are like a tier below in like the ranged like opinions about the game. So they will like fight to the death, flip the game over like things that are completely unnecessary. So I think having those bot laners banned out can help reduce those matchups where AD carries just think, they have Draven, I can't play the game, we have to just flip it. And they flip it. So I think it's great to have these Jinx bans and Caitlyn bans because Caitlyn's gig OP as well. So I think it's really helpful for the blue side to be able to play.
No champions from Arcane will be allowed.
Good. Shouts are all
Vi has not been banned inside of this. I just want to bring that up. We haven't.
I guess you're probably right. Yeah. I wonder. Well, Heimerdinger hasn't been banned either, so we've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, a shame, honestly. With that being said, talking about shames, let's go ahead and get to my favorite part, shaming the caster predictions here, as we get to see exactly what they have for themselves as we do. Whoa, we got a king icon here on Orbital as the play-by-plays have taken over.
Ooh, okay, so this is a really interesting set of predictions. First of all, I'm noticing no Evil Geniuses fans. Everybody has stopped living evil for today. I can't say I blame them. 100 Thieves are really good, but that is definitely something to note. Also, Hawk and Jolly going against the Academy team is pretty fun too. Mm-hmm. That's. I mean, I know Jolly just like has to go with no team because they
got an apology letter.
Yeah, the apology letter for losing. You know, I don't know. Maybe based on the other prediction, she's going to be receiving another one today, but we'll see how that goes.
Could be a possibility. RBM, how are you feeling, man? I see these things, and I feel like you might have some different thoughts on, especially this first series.
Yeah, I'm taking EGP, no team, wildcard, and Immortals, in my 4 predictions. EGP got this one relatively cleanly. Everyone's gonna look like a clown.
Yeah.
Bukar's got no team. Alorum's got wildcard. That one's in the bag, by the way. Anyone taking withdrawals trolling. And then AoE, of course, that one's as well in the bag. Shiozuri cannot outmatch Julius. It's a coach cap.
It's a coach gap. Amelia, are you sharing some of the opinions of RBM here?
No.
Or are you?
He has a little too much faith. His former teammates are good, but I don't know if that'll be enough to carry those teams. I'm sorry. Gonna have to go with the 100x here.
As it be like that sometimes. It really do. And it's going to be an exciting game no matter what. There's a lot of different storylines that have been leading up to this moment. Lots of young talent that are coming together to really showcase their talents here. And the quarterfinals, this is single elim here. Every single match from this point forward takes you onto the next level. There are no second chances from this point forward. So all these teams, they've got to put everything on the line. Smats, with all these young players, is there any worries you might have, any nervousness that you think might come through?
That's definitely a part of it. I think in the proving ground circuit space, it's a little bit more forgiving because you have another opportunity later on. There are just a bunch of tournaments that can get you to that main event. I know the format's a little bit different this time, so you have more to worry about. There's only 2 tournaments rather than like 4 or 6 from the last one. It seems like we're just dropping it down each time. Maybe next time there'll be no tournaments. That's obviously not true, but
That's
you know,
not true.
it's
Hopefully not true.
there's quite a bit riding on this. I think if you do end up taking an L to a team that like has a mid laner straight out of LCS, you shouldn't be too worried about it. Like the thing about Proving Grounds as an entire year is that it's a lot about building up as a team and trying to figure out how you can work together and getting into a new environment, especially on a team like Evil Genius's Prodigies, where they've got a lot of the staff building them up around them, and they know that a lot of the players that were previously on this team did get promoted to the rest of Evil Geniuses. Like Danny's playing in LCS, smurfing it in lock-in. So I think you know, it sounds like I'm counting Evil Geniuses out right now. I'm definitely not, but a loss today would not be the end of the world for them. They've got the whole rest of the year. I'm proud of their journey already, so I think they can make a lot of improvements.
And RBM, I'm gonna ask you. You played inside of Proving Ground. How do you feel? You like the grind of all the tournament matchups? I gotta ask this question. Or are you more of like, all right, this new format is all right, pretty sick?
I always hated the new format from summer split because I love the spring split format of last year where you got to play like 4 days a week. You got one scrim and like you just YOLO'd. Like I thought it was so fun because I hate having like long breaks and like scrimming a bunch. Like I want to play in the matches because they feel so much like more important to me. So that's my take on that for sure. But I will jump on the young kid rookie thing. Piece of advice from an old boomer that doesn't play anymore is just no matter what, don't play with fear or regrets. Like, trust your teammates as much as you can because, you know, using everyone's brain together is, like, most important. But no matter what, just don't regret anything after the end of the game. And that was, like, something I really prided myself off of being able to do. Because, like, if I thought something was good, I would just do it. And, like, I tried it. And, you know, I either look like a completely dirty inter or I look like a king. So it's, like, just you want to stand out, make a name for yourself. So play with confidence and just try things. You'll never know.
And Amelia, you were watching last season, right? We talked about it a little bit beforehand. How does it feel? We go from the person playing inside to the person watching. How are you feeling going into this proving ground, seeing all these young talent come up and seeing, as RBM has said, some of the boomers getting taken off of the Rift?
It's definitely exciting to see, you know, like new fresh people show up, like, you know, keeping the scene alive. It is really sad to see a lot of the boomers go though, you know, after watching them and cheering them on, you know, without RBM on anymore. But it's exciting. I'm just glad to see it flourish.
Alarm's still here, you know, he's on a wild card, but so we got Chief Boomer still kicking here.
Grandpa will have to be dragged out of League of Legends before he gives up. That's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
True.
I love that guy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know who you guys are cheering for. You can actually interact here on the Academy stream by going onto Twitter and using the hashtag #WeAreUnified. Your tweet could show up here live on stream, so let us know your thoughts. Who do you think the GOAT is inside of the remaining players that are left alive? Let us know. Get us everything that's going on inside your head and make sure your thoughts are known, as we are going into our first game here very shortly. I'm going to do one last roundup here. Going into the matchup, we've had a lot of information laid out for every single player here. We've talked about these teams in the head-to-head. Is there any last thought that you guys have? I'm going to start with you, Smats. Is there any last thought that you have possibly going into this series here that you're really looking forward to?
Well, I'm just gonna repeat what I said before. I think somebody needs to pick Yubi today. That just needs to happen.
I agree.
The champion's really good. Yeah. See, we got 2 people on the desk that agree. Yes. Bring out the cat.
Okay. Bring out the cat. RBM, I'm going to ask you the toughest question. Array or Sketch is going to pop off in this game. Who's going to do it? Game 1.
In game 1? Okay,
Yeah.
well, my prediction is 2-1. 100X loses, obviously. So I'll give
You baited. Okay.
I'll give Array 1 game of, you know, smurfing. you know, I'm gonna say something happens in draft, some bad matchup, and Sketch Streams can't solo carry the game. But I'll give it as soon as you know, I don't know which side each team is, but I think EGP, if they get to play red side and Faisal gets a good matchup top on R5, is really important. But I have friends on 100X as well, General Sniper, Fan, and Ray, so I at least have to give them a win. And Daption, I like Daption too. I only don't know Insanity, so like I gotta give them at least a win, so that way they're like, bro, why didn't you pick us? So I'll give them one win. I'll give them game one, and then it's a reverse sweep, AOE or AOE style, just like back in the day. We get a reverse sweep for EGP.
All right, I love to hear it. We got some Yumi going. We got some some blood being shed here between teammates that have been on the same team. We're gonna have to see exactly how everything squares up. But that being said, our casters are ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lyrical stylings of Jolly and Beatdown as they're gonna take us away for game number 1.
Yay! I'm so excited for this beatdown. I, of course, am going to be your play-by-play for the day as Jolly, and then beatdown this side, that side is going to other way is going to be joining me here for the color. And oh my gosh, beatdown. We've been in the same room now for about an hour, just trying to not be too hyped, not waste all of our energy in the pre-show here. I don't know if you were listening to that pre-show. Speaking of that, on the analyst desk, and I'm not sure how you feel about the Yumi thing. I personally, I don't know, I'll throw it to you and then I'll give you mine.
I mean, I don't know. Yumi is fine, I think, in some circumstances, but I don't know if it's like, oh, it has to come out today or something like
yeah,
that.
Right.
No. What about you?
Yeah, I'm okay if that's not the case, to be honest.
There you
but
go.
We're going to be heading right into draft. So, hey, you know what? We're going to get an answer, at least for game number 1 here, pretty quickly. And, of course, we do have 100 Thieves who have chosen the red side to start things out. They are the higher seed. We're looking at what, first seed and then fourth seed in the overall, I believe, between these two. First seed in Group A, and then in Group D, second seed coming out of EGP. So, Viego, Twisted Fate on the side of EGP to start things out. You got the Aphelios and the Jinx very clearly targeting Sketch on this one. Those are both big array picks, though, I gotta say.
Well, yeah, I mean, both of these AD carry players are super big. I'm pretty sure they mentioned it on the desk that bot lane matchup is definitely an exciting one just because of how good Array and Sketch actually are. So it makes sense that we're seeing a lot of these carry picks taken away. It does make me wonder what we're going to see the rest of these picks shake out to be. When a lot of those hyper carries are taken out, then you're going to be left with things like, yeah, Caitlyn still made it through. There's Jin. There's Sketch played the Ziggs the other day, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a lot of options still, I suppose. But I am curious with the usual ones being taken off the board, what EGP are actually going to go for. I know the Caitlyn is hovered, but like, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, they're
going
to
to
take it.
lock-in. Okay, I was going to say, usually that's one where if the Caitlyn comes through, you'll lock it in immediately. The thing is, you do leave up the Thresh, the Nautilus on the other side. Of course, one of them is still available no matter what, but we have had a lot of priority on specifically this. It's ADCs, and then if not an ADC, it's going to be jungle priority. So the Jin is locked in response, and we've got the Trundle hover right off the bat. I do love this one.
Yeah, I think that one actually would be a pretty good answer here. Overall, I think especially Fnatic, super good in the early game on these enabling picks when he's running things like the Xin Zhao, the Lee Sin. So playing something that can try and match that playmaking in the early game. Of course, we know Trundle's really good in this as well. I think makes the most sense here. And of course, locking in the Lux to get that very, very painful bot lane there for Sketch and Daption, I think is perfect.
Oh, yeah, and then once you move into that ARAM stage, the mid-team fight stage, you've got that final spark that's just going to be blasting down the center. We've seen that coming clutch many times for Daption here on the side of EGP, so no big surprise. And, of course, no big surprise either to kind of mirror that support pick here for Dawnbray. And, oh, my gosh, I mean, we've seen Dawnbray pop off on these Takey champions. You know, we heard the desk talking about how there's a lot of casters. There's a lot of, you know, just caster supports that are coming through here, sorcerer supports. That's not the case for Dawnbray. Dawnbray says, I'm sticking with the Leona, I'm sticking with the Thresh, I'm sticking with the Nautilus. We're going to use that crowd control, and it does come into clutch in the early parts of the game even.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Dawnbray, especially on this pick in particular, I think he's been playing well all tournament long, but I'm pretty sure the Nautilus is his most picked champion, and he's just been playing really well. The fact that he's always able to find these angles of engage in lane, out of lane, when it comes to actually starting off these team fights and finding these good angles for 100x, the dude has just been playing out of his mind. So I think it makes sense you get him this pick, and honestly, as oppressive as Caitlyn and Lux can be, the thing with Enchantress supports that is a little dangerous. When you're facing Nautilus, when you're facing Thresh, you've got to play the range, because if one of those hooks lands, and especially if the jungler's nearby, that could very well end the laning phase here. We know how Caitlyn likes to play. She does want to bully. She does want to abuse her range in the early game and try to start farming these plates. So if Sketch can get this early lead early on, then EGP can use that lead to go for a particular win here. I actually like that we're getting the Yumi hover. Maybe they were listening.
They always do that to us. It's either that or
I know.
Teemo hover. And I have just, honestly, I've stopped looking until I get a lock-in on the screen.
Fair enough.
Because there have been so many times that I'm like, oh, no. I end up making just the weirdest faces in response to some of these picks, but they're never actually locked in. The Victor is another one that we're not surprised about. Very, very high priority pick. Incredibly strong right now. And of course, we've got the hover for the Orianna, which we've seen quite a bit of recently. Really comes big into play. But no, it's actually going to be the Azir lock in here for Leo.
Wow, you don't see that one too often, except we did see it yesterday for Strumpist, of course. It is also one of his strongest champions. And definitely Leo is quite proficient on the champ as well. You get yourself a lot of DPS and scaling into that later parts of the game. So it's nice. Even if Sketch does not get the lead, Caitlyn players usually look for in the early game, you're still going to have just a lot of late game power here and team fighting potential. Even if you go for that Camille instead of the Ornn here, when Perry can go in, you can have Faisal move in with you, especially with that hook shot, being able to access the backline, get on top of somebody like Array, or maybe Donbray if they're out of position, I think is perfect.
Yeah, this does give the opportunity as well for EGP looking into later parts of the game. You got the scaling, obviously, coming from this Azir. This Trundle's just going to get stronger and stronger as the game goes on, especially if you're building up some items here. You can subjugate whoever he wants. It is going to be the Fiora lock-in, though. That allows for some counter split lane play or side lane play as well, which is very nice to see. And you know what? Sniper is capable of pulling out really any of these champions. We see a lot of the sneaky, we see a lot of the Akalis. You see the Jace has been banned away. I mean, honestly, his champion pool is so dang deep that he's always got some sort of counter, whether it's a standard direct counter to what has been locked in.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's unreal. They talked about it on the desk. We talk about it every time 100 Thieves is here. Sniper is nasty. So seeing him on these really high mechanically intense champions like the Fiora is definitely an exciting one. You pointed it out. Really good split pusher. Much less of a team fighter, but of course can function in one if it's really necessary here. But in the side lane, the Sniper is going to reign supreme this game as long as the early game goes the way we kind of expect it to. And I think some credit is due. I think they highlighted the top lane matchup as well, because I actually really do think Faisal is quite a good player. So I am interested to see how this laning phase is going to go. I know it's a little tough for Camille, especially with that riposte, but it is possible, I think, to actually come out on top here if you're going to be Faisal. So I'm more interested to see, especially because Faisal probably isn't going to get a lot of attention in the early game. I'm expecting EGB to play a little more towards the bottom side, more Sketch, more Leo, just because these guys are going to be the carries for the later parts of the game. They're going to be the ones doing a lot of damage. For 100 Thieves on the other side, you have Array on this Jhin pick. Usually, like you pointed out at the beginning of draft phase, he is usually playing more of these carry champions, Jinx, Aphelios, and things like that. But he can play this more supportive role as well, because Insanity, when he's playing the Victor, we saw it in the previous game that actually you and I casted against, I believe it was No Team. Insanity had an excellent game. The dude is, well, former LCS mid laner, you know what I mean? What can you expect? And Sniper played out of his mind as well.
Absolutely. That's, I mean, what we come to expect, though, from a team like 100 Thieves, right? So Array is going to pop off. We had a little bit of fun, a little bit of play, with RBM on the analyst desk earlier of, all right, I'm rooting for the underdogs. These are some of the people that I played with. Of course, I'm good friends with these other people. And so, there's a lot of faith in both of the bottom lanes here, but we come to recognize, especially when somebody like Donbray is on somebody as comfortable as he has been with the Nautilus, the early roam potential is massive. And if they can get a little bit of a boost here for Insanity, I do think that there's going to be a more focus probably from both of these junglers towards the mid side of the map, especially when you've got split pushers and side laners in the top lane, both really kind of countering each other. Sure, you want to help them out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did navigate their way up there, just because we're seeing ganks at easy level 3, level 4, like at the latest, to be honest, for a lot of these junglers. And especially with that frozen domain, man, Perry has a lot of opportunities to try to make some early initiations. And if they can get that pressure and lead themselves into the late game a lot earlier than 100 Thieves, they're going to find an advantage. But you always have to consider the amount of crowd control that is potentially available here for the side of 100 Thieves.
Right, and I mean that point too about Perry is definitely interesting because in recent games, even when he plays these early game champions like Xin or even something like Trundle, he doesn't look for too many of these early plays. He, of course, Perry jungle, everyone knows he plays a lot of Kayn, does like to power farm quite a bit here. So I'm hoping this time around he does use that early impact he has with that, like you said, the floor, the pillar of ice, all of these things that he can use to affect the outcome of the game in the earlier parts of the game here. Because I think that's what EGP really needs to be doing here. Because Fnatic, this is what he does, man. Early game, he is 3 camps, he's in somebody's lane, he's causing someone a problem here. Really good at enabling the rest of his team in the early laning phase. And when you think about Insanity or Sniper, getting these two early on and letting that happen is something EGP can't afford.
They really can't. Especially, I mean, again, we've talked about Insanity already, right? It's hard to just continue to go back to these same players and be like, hey, this is a really strong pick right now. This is a really strong player right now. They know how to work the meta, and that meta does have a lot to do with these jungles in the early game, right? And so if we're going to see Fnatic play the standard Fnatic, then yeah, we're going to see Insanity trying to allow a little bit of pressure towards his side so that there's an opportunity for Fnatic to jump in. And even without that, we tend to see a lot of invades from a team like 100 Thieves. True. Or even, clear the camp and then run across, as long as you've got vision on the fact that, as long as you know you can clear camps faster, and as long as you have vision as to where the enemy jungler started, then there's been a lot of chances or opportunities where Fnatic has said, yeah, I can go over and at least yoink something here, like yoink a little Gromp, and then either head back into my lane or get a nice navigation down into a gank towards the bottom side, or even navigating up around the Raptor pit towards the the mid lane. So we're gonna have to see Perry move a lot quicker, and this is, I mean, Trundle, absolutely, you are more than capable of getting early ganks. Level 3 that's the anticipation, right? You've got a pillar, you've got your frozen domain, that alone is enough to get you into position, even if you are coming from a defensive side on the gank. You just got to see if either of these teams allows any sort of pressure in either direction, and we know that Fnatic is going to move on it. Perry, we should be seeing do the same.
Yeah, that's why I think the mid lane matchup's definitely interesting to me as well. Leo playing this Azir. Actually, Azir and Victor are both funny in this way because early on, usually they're not champs you see get that early priority, but I think that's going to end up being pretty important. Insanity, even in matchups early on that don't tend to favor him, he does manage to trade a lot better than his opponent, and it does offer him to get that push, allow him to move, take these fights in the river, take these fights when Fnatic wants to invade, or potentially even roam and help plays that Fnatic is making in other lanes here. So I think 100 Thieves early game is definitely an exciting one to be able to see here. I think the thing that's definitely interesting to me too is the Fiora that Sniper is running. Well, not as good of a team fighter overall. We already all know this about this champion. So how is he going to be playing the side lane? How are 100 Thieves going to play the side lane rather than not use the pressure that Sniper is going to want to generate so that they can take some of these advantages?
Either way, it does seem to be a pretty balanced composition, facing a pretty balanced composition. And I'm very excited as we get into game number 1 here. This is still just a best of 3, but we're going to have a second one coming up later in the day after this EGP and 100 Thieves Insanity. Kind of like what we were talking about, or what they were talking about on the analyst desk before this started. This is single elimination. You got no second chance. This is playoffs. This is the big boys.
That's right. We're here in the quarterfinals. Single elimination. There's only one chance here. EGP versus 100 next. Or as I like to call it, jolly, text versus text.
We got that. We figured that out. We got good production on the backside. And hey, you know what? At least it's in the fronts of their names, right? So we can easily see EGP as long as you look on the left-hand side. EGP
exactly.
Look on the right-hand side, right? There's indicators, and plus we're here to guide you through all of the confusion. No, there's not going to be a lot of confusion, honestly.
No, not really. We know who's who. You and I just spent the last 5 minutes or so breaking it down. The desk spent the last 20 minutes or so. Unless you're just joining us, if you don't know what's going on, I'm sorry. I can't. Nothing can help you, Twitch chatter.
This is League of Legends.
That's true. Jolly, how'd you know that?
Oh, I've done this once or twice.
What?
Once or twice, beatdown.
Wow.
With you, in fact.
Really? Are you sure?
It is going to be a slow start, though. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't you. For all I know, you told me I'm not real.
That's true. That's true. I did. And I still stand by that. Don't you live in Idaho?
It could all be a simulation. We do have a slow start, though, coming through from both of these players. A little bit of, gold advantage, as we can see in the mid lane, and a quicker clear that's going to be coming from Perry to start the game out here. Nothing too crazy though, Beatdown. This is the anticipation when it comes to single elimination, right? You move forward with a little bit of trepidation for both teams, whether or not you feel like you have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, again, both these junglers really enablers. So we're gonna see once that level 3 comes through, what's going to happen. Fnatic already on the move,
There
like
it
I was
is.
talking about, and he actually has a pretty good angle here on Leo.
Just like I thought, it's on Insanity as well, trying to help out here. Insanity's a little bit far behind on this one, gonna have to walk forward. Hey, that's gonna force out the flash. Fnatic is gonna find the secondary, and the follow-up on that should be able to stay alive to this one. It picks up the first blood.
This is what I'm talking about. Right off the bat, we're seeing all this pressure. Oh my god, the hook.
Beautiful deadly flourish as well on to Sketch. Array has the ignite though, is gonna end up going down. It's a 1-for-1. But it's going to be Daption that picks up the kill, and Dombre that picks up the kill.
Yep, it supports in the bottom lane, picking up some of these early kills. I like the aggression, though. Already at level 2, despite being pushed in, Dombre, he finds something. Doesn't end up playing out, but this is kind of what we can expect from him on this Nautilus pick, and kind of the dangers of the early laning phase of Caitlyn and Lux, despite how good it is in terms of the poke and the early damage it can offer here. And we're going to see the replay of the gank again. Fnatic, as soon as he hits level 3, on his way to the top side of the map, immediately pretty much solo kills Leo, even though it costs his flash. You trade it for his, it's just completely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. Get the first blood, get the assist as well there for Insanity, and immediately moving down to the bottom lane play as well.
Yeah, right. And I mean, a lot of flashes blown. Now parry. Okay, we got to play.
Ooh! The flash forward, it's a flash of response from Dombre, and once again, Array is going to go down. That's an 0-2-1 ADC on the side of 100 Thieves.
That's great, and this is what I wanted to see from Perry. Doesn't even go for that 6 camp clear. He goes for 5, gets the Scuttle Crab, and he makes a play in that bottom lane. You get a kill onto this Caitlyn, which is more pressure, more CS that Array is missing, golden experience all. So this is more of what I was expecting from, or hoping for from EGP in the early parts of the game. Of course, top lane, in the island that it is. Just got some trades back and forth, some farming, but of course neither has actually recalled yet.
Yeah, and of course there's 30 seconds until that first dragon. We're looking at an Ocean Drake to kick things off. Very even across the board, but I already do like the fact that we have almost a kill a minute. I think at the 4-minute mark it was 1 kill a minute because we have 2 and 2. But hey, just as we were anticipating with these compositions, they're both very even keel across the board, and no big surprise, each kill is being acknowledged and mirrored on the other side. It's going to be Sniper who gets engaged on right here. An attempt there with the riposte.
He's got to try 1v1.
Does take a lot of damage. A nice little shielding, though, because we do have Daption who is up here to help out Sniper with some nice fancy footing, but does get caught up in the minions, and Perry's going to pick up the kill.
And even I like it, the early roam from Daption to the top lane. You definitely don't see that too often with the Enchanter picks, but that also was very helpful. The fact that Perry ends up showing up right as Sniper goes for that engage as well. Blows his flash and gets the kill anyways. So, this is a good early game, just continuing to go well for the side of EGP as 100X trying to get whatever they can, steal some camps there inside Perry's jungle. And technically they could dive Sketch if they wanted to, but I think instead, because you know Perry's away, might just go ahead and start Dragon number 1.
Yeah, they've already got this lane pushed up. Definitely not a bad idea. Daption throws a couple of abilities out, but they're straight onto Dawnbrave, who's already getting pretty tanky. Let's take another look at that top lane play, though.
Yeah, and you can see it too. No Q for Faisal. The Sniper just immediately goes in. Could have had the solo kill, realistically, but because Faisal actually kind of waited on that hook shot and hits it, Sniper after he flashed, there was just no way he'd actually get away.
I think it was waiting for the pillar to come down, right? So you can hook shot off of the pillar, which is still pretty cool.
Oh, wow, okay. I guess Fnatic was forced off the dragon or something. It's actually kind of a big deal, too, because he was using the fact that Perry was on the top side of the map to try and go for it. But Perry, he gets to have his cake and eat it, too. He gets the top gank, he gets to clear his top camps, and then move his way bottom and just said, hey, thanks for the leash, fan. I'm going to go ahead and take that, take it from here.
Yeah, we didn't see how that happened. We're going to see a little bit of back and forth here in the top side. Of course, things slowing down just a little bit, and just a slight lead for gold in favor of EGP. Definitely helps they were able to pick up that first dragon of the game. And then also you got a little bit of a lead here in favor of this Caitlyn and Sketch, which is no big surprise. You got a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra pressure coming here, especially with the fact that Dawnbreak, who just barely misses that dredge line. This player has been roaming already so much, which is what we anticipate, what we expect coming out of Dawnbreak. So Array has kind of had to play safe.
He has still, oh, wait a minute, we gotta play.
The nice riposte and not enough damage coming through the hook shot back, and then immediately fourth. Roots back and forth. Dombray's taking a lot of damage here. It should be the ignite. It's going to be Sketch that turns it around and is able to pick up the kill on that one. And now Array is on the run. Using the 50 caliber net is Sketch to try to get a little bit closer. The headshot doesn't hit though, and Array makes it out okay.
I mean, really, ultimately, very nice play from EGP's bot lane. Doing really good so far in the 2v2. Despite Array and Dawnbray's attempts to really try and force these skirmishes, try and win things out here, it's just not working. And ultimately, some of these plays EGP have been making across the board has amounted to a pretty small lead that's going on here. And we're going to actually get a replay of what happened here with Perry. He does at first, it's the same kind of bait story, like, hey, look at me, my HP is so low. Pops the grand challenge. His jungler's here with him, and just it's that easy.
It's, uh-oh, I'm running away. Psych, running towards my ally right there. And then we move down to the bottom side, and you see that ignite was perfect coming out of Daption. Sketch was even able to pick up the kill. But that's the end of that story.
All right, and just the beginning of what's continuing to be EGP's good early game here. You can see it now. Dawnbray both supports actually are in lane, but Daption is actually about a level and a half up, I think, on Dawnbray. Basically 2 at the moment here from what we're seeing. Still, the CC is there if Dawnbray wants to make the play. You do allow the push to come through. Insanity can start to go and make a move if he really wants to, but I think he'll settle for some visions. Nothing to play for, no dragons, no play bot, so I think 100 Thieves next just going to back up, continue farming for the moment here. But you got to imagine Fnatic, now that he's level 6, probably going to be looking for more plays to be made, could revisit this mid lane, even though Leo has his flash back up, could go back to top lane if he wants to as well.
We do see teleports there for those little black squares on the sides, if you guys were wondering about that. Those are TPs. Of course, on the right-hand side, you can see the cooldown, right? So those are available for both Faisal and Leo at the moment. EGP has most of their summoner spells, just a couple down for both Daption and Sketch on the bottom side of the map. But, I mean, honestly, that initial start to have 2 ganks pretty quickly on, or actually it was only 1 gank, and then it was one just 2v2 kill to where early Array went down 2 times, and this is a player that we are looking at to push really hard in the early part of the game for 100 Thieves next. However, you can also acknowledge that he's such a strong player, considered as one of the best ADCs currently in Proving Grounds, that we know that he's one of those guys that's able to maintain himself, right? If he falls back, he can still have Dawnbray do a lot of traveling around the map and you know, not at least put himself into a horrible position, because both times he's gone down, it has been 2v2 or 3v2.
Ray, player, very well last year at his time with Resolve, a player who actually, honestly, a lot of people considered one of the best 80s out of Academy, still looking about as good this year. I don't know how good he'll be looking after Perry shows up, though. That's kind of what I'm worried about here. He has the Rift Herald. Oh, wait a minute. Fan reads the play, though.
Nice little pillar to pop him up as well. That means Dombray's going to have to flash out of this one. Out comes the final spark, and Sketch is still able to pick up the kill here.
Open.
Curtain call comes through. Daption is very low on mana, but totally okay with taking all of these shots here for Sketch. Going to turn it back around, use the last of his mana, get some more damage down. Ace in the hole comes out. It's not quite enough to pick up the kill on Fnatic, but it is enough to shove him away.
They still end up going 1-for-1 here. They don't get to drop the Rift Herald because Perry dies. So I think ultimately this is positive for 100 next. You read the play as Fnatic, you show up to make sure the Rift Herald doesn't drop, and you get more plates into Sketch's pocket. This is what you want. So you're pushing the timer on that Rift Herald, on the eye that Perry is holding on to at the moment here. And we're looking at, like, what, 60 seconds left maybe on that? He's going to feel pressure to start using that one very soon. Could just look to drop it mid and then head towards Dragon, as EGPs probably want to continue stacking.
If we take a look at the vision too, both of these teams have primarily defensive vision. You've got one of these offensive wards in an attempt to try to make some pressure here onto Sniper in the top lane. We can see in that tri-bush. We can even see at the moment the Perry is sitting in that bush, maybe waiting for an opportunity to drop the Herald, and there it is. Going to come out, just waiting for the recall to come through from Sniper. Of course, the teleport is available here, but it's too risky to make the move at the moment.
Risky, I think, is underselling it, Jolly. I think he'll just teleport to his doom, especially because he knows his jungler is going to take that opportunity to get their first dragon of the game here. So he's just going to walk back, take the wave that gets pushed in, and just kind of hope that he can stop Shelly from getting another charge here. Ultimately, Perry's also going to be able to trade some camps. Of course, Sniper It's gonna get a little aggressive here, but ultimately, I don't know if this is a fight they actually want to take.
Ooh, a lot of damage though going on to Faisal.
100 next.
That point was hit. It's going to be a nice little
the
hook shot
flash.
away. A flash by Sniper, but a flash immediately mirrored here by Faisal. In the meantime, Fnatic is trying to take down Perry, Insanity, and Dawnbreak just trying to follow up on this kill. Faisal's taking a lot of damage right there. Out comes the Hextech ultimatum for Sniper, though he will be able to stay alive. Maybe.
The turret shot? No.
He goes down thanks to that Hextech ultimatum blocking him in for one more second.
Still, ultimately, very good play. Good read from 100 Thieves next to be able to move up across the map. They already got the Dragon. Sniper got the information that, hey, they're still here. So Insanity and pretty much the rest of the team move up to the top side of the map and immediately punish them. It's nice for Faisal that he goes 1 for 1, but ultimately, this is a lot of gold that goes into 100 Thieves' next pocket, kind of allowing them to narrow the gap just a little.
So 6-6. Lots of kills this game. Just under a kill a minute still at this point. And, you know, 100 Thieves actually is definitely staunching the bleeding. The EGP was beginning to apply right here. Still about a 1.5K up over the opposition. Fnatic potentially, well, can't really do much of anything here, but take a look at the vision once more. Look how much more 100 Thieves next have placed in their own jungle. They do not want to allow the pressure to come through from Perry because of that frozen domain, because of his ability to get some really solid crowd control down on top of running in, of course, using his subjugate as it is almost up and available here. But it does look like maybe 100 Thieves next are making their way down towards the bottom. We get some pings coming out on bottom tower, and then in the meantime, EGP is pinging out this mid lane and Insanity, who is alone momentarily.
Yeah, and I mean, as for Vision, 100 Thieves next doing a pretty good job controlling this bottom side of the map. You can see Dawnbreak placing ward after ward, and you can see them all moving together here, trying to see if there's a play to be made. Insanity in this 1v3.
Ooh, out comes the curtain call. Sketch is going to make it out. Daption barely avoids the final shot right there. Nobody else can follow it up, though. Perry does a nice job proxying.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, really positive. You get a lot of HP bars. Insanity does really well for the earlier parts of that fight, and you're just going to allow Ray to move up and make just be able to shove this wave out. You can see that rotation. Sniper already on the bottom side of the map, looking like he uses TP to get there, and they just move Insanity top, so Faisal can't actually threaten this turret.
A good play here. Good response to Insanity staying alive there in the mid lane as well. 4-0-0 is where Fnatic is at. We've been talking about how well Sketch has been doing, but I do think the rotations that 100 Thieves next is applying right here is forcing this reactive play. As you know, I love to talk about proactive and reactive play beatdown. But, you know, as far ahead early on as Sketch was, as many of those 2v2s Sketch was able to come out ahead on, how much of a difference does it really make when you're just forcing this player to navigate around the map and not go where he wants to?
Yeah, that's part of the thing, too, because 100 Thieves, a lot of what they have been doing doesn't end up involving the 80 carries. You have your mid laners and, of course, just your general top side of the map. What that means is the lead, that's largely because of Sketchstream and all the gold he has with the kills, doesn't actually apply very much. So Insanity, he's up 20 CS. Fnatic, you just said it, he's 4-0. And Sniper, though he's 1 for 1, he is up in CS as well. So you can see the gold lead really favoring 100 next on this top side of the map, playing away from Sketch, who wants to just continue to use his gold and actually try to help the rest of his team in the process. They've just been avoiding him.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to be able to do? We see
why not?
You should be able to. Ooh, close. Not quite able to do that. The ping's coming out here. 100 Thieves next, once again, prioritizing this bottom lane, just trying to get pressure around the map. They want to also find their first responding tower, and that's going to tie things up 1-1. And we're still looking at such a close score line, such a close gold line. I mean, look at the mirrors across the board that we're seeing right here. It's only a little bit more than 500 gold in favor of EGP. So 100 Thieves next has done a really good job of preventing EGP to kind of run away with the early lead that they did manage to grab for themselves.
Right, and controlling this bottom side of the map means 100 next have all the vision they need for this dragon. So e.g. Prodigies, they're not actually going to wait for dragon to spawn. They're going to drop Herald. No 100 Thieves have to deal with it and just move into go for vision. But because they don't know where Insanity and Dawnbreak are till now, oh, wait a second.
Oh, Insanity flashes
Chaos
away
Storm.
from the final spark. The Hextech Ultimatum comes out. There is Emperor's Divine. It's a lot of damage onto all of these members. Dombray's going to go down. Fnatic does manage to find the one kill, but will he go down in response? Flashing away and over into the enemy's jungle, but going to be able to use the Blast Cone over here to Krugs. In the meantime, we have a little picture in pictures. We can see that there has been a lot of pressure here by General Sniper. Sniper in the top side of the map.
Fnatic, he manages to make the
No
great
way.
escape. Yeah, he
No
lives.
way.
And because they lost, they did end up going for trades. No one actually gets to go for the dragon here. Fnatic has that opportunity to reset. His mid laner is going to be back out on the map in a couple of seconds too. 100 Thieves actually could still make a play for this dragon here just because of the fact that, well, they managed to go 2 for 2 in that trade. And the thing is too, Faisal, because Faisal was there on that bottom side of the map, Sniper, he didn't join the fray with the TP. He just continued splitting, is continuing to farm and push these waves that Faisal now has to answer. Meaning, if he wants to, Sniper can actually walk mid, walk down to this dragon, and help secure it for 100 next.
That's definitely where the pings are coming through. We can see that Fnatic is already heading that way right now. Donbray and Array trying to pressure in this mid lane. And it's pretty obvious to EGP what 100 Thieves next are planning here, but can they actually do anything about it? We can see that Perry is actually invading enemy jungle, currently on those red Raptors at the moment. So no, it's going to be Dabshin throwing out the final spark. Doesn't even get the hit onto Fnatic thanks to the jump over to the Scuttle Crab on this lower side of the map.
All right, nice and easy. 100th next, get their second dragon. At this point now, Sniper is in a bit of a pickle. He doesn't realize that Perry is coming from a very awkward angle. Sniper, I think he knows now.
He's gotta know now. We can see there's the attempt to jump away. Oh my gosh, cancels the Hextech Ultimatum. It was impressive, but still ends up going down to Perry.
I mean, at least you get the TP out of Leo, who came, not really sure. Maybe he was expecting people to be nearby, but either way, him being there while Faisal recalls means you do get this turret, you do get more gold into your pocket, and it's going to be a question of whether or not 100 Thieves want to do something about it. It looks like the answer is yes. They have people collapsing, and this is looking pretty good.
Fnatic can't get the engage though, thanks to a nice little pillar right there, and it is Array too far on the backside. Perry decides to just flash away, ensure that nothing comes of that.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Flash for a dredge line is positive. You hold on to that turret, and here we go.
Oh my gosh, Dawnbray is going to be followed up with a deadly flourish, and Array is going to pick it up with one single curtain call shot. Beautifully done there by 100 Thieves next, particularly Dawnbray.
Yeah, nice and easy. Big flash engage coming through, and now, because no support, you can start to invade. You can start to set up vision of your own, and Sketch, of course, knows he's got to drop some traps in that area. They want to keep pushing. Oh, the hook lands.
My gosh, it's so much damage coming through here. 100 Thieves now are writing the script on this game. They're barely in the lead in terms of gold, but the amount of crowd control and initiation that they are able to apply here is definitely going over the head.
X-Flash. Uh-oh, Sketch is in trouble, but Leo is going to show up and get him to walk away. I like that play, too. 100 next. They know when they have these opportunities to be making these plays. Fnatic just keeps finding angle after angle, and honestly, you could say the same about Dawnbray. And it's been working out pretty well for them so far. Of course, things were still in a pretty even state, and it's worth noting Leo has been farming quite effectively, even though he is down a bit compared to Insanity. He's going to be offering a lot of DPS, and he actually hasn't been part of a lot of these fights either. So I don't think EG or Prodigies are by any means out of this, especially when you consider the goal difference being minuscule. It's just 100 Thieves have been very, very proactive.
They have. Sniper, probably not going to be caught out in this instance. They do have a bit more vision on the enemy side, and just in case, Sniper says, all right, I'm going to throw a vision ward in this very obvious location. I just want to ensure that this is not a bait here to make me force me to walk into the face of Perry, but now we do have eyes on Perry here in the mid lane, and that's where 100 Thieves next are planning on going. Out comes the Hex Flash here. Dawnbray, not going to make a play off of it, though.
He's just looking to see if he can catch anybody out here, but now off this reset, we're seeing assist pings come through, but I think ultimately 100 Thieves probably want to try and set up some vision on this top side of the map. Perry securing Scuttle, having vision of their own, means Baron could be a potential option for them, especially if they manage to find a pick here with Perry's pillar. Now he's moving around this bot side to hopefully get that, because that could be EG Prodigy's way to propel themselves to a really strong lead. You get the Baron, you're able to take some turrets with it. Of course, the bonus gold, I think, is all going to be very impactful. But I think right now, EGP, they're looking like they just want to focus on securing this next dragon. Because you can see all 5 of their members are on this bottom side of the map.
Definitely something worth going for. Of course, it's a minute 20 plus on this, so they're just ensuring there's no vision that's already been placed down here by 100 Thieves. In the meantime, we can see the 100 Thieves trying to get a little bit of their own pressure by putting some here in the mid lane, and now they're going to do the exact same thing. It's just a vision game, back and forth, throw out the sweeper, throw down some vision, then the next team walks in, does the exact same, and you know what? Whoever gets closer to the end of this countdown in 1 minute ends up having a bit more of a priority here. Harry throws out a little bit of a thumbs up just to say, ha, nice try, your deadly flourish won't hit me this time.
And Faisal has to answer this top wave that's been stacking for a bit. I mean, it looks like he has TP if he wants to join anyway, but ultimately, because of that, you do have this control over the Dragon Pit area for some time now. We're going to see whether or not 100 Thieves actually want to try and pressure this turret, but EG Prodigies, they know how important it is, so they're including, or rather pushing all of their members here into this mid lane so they can start to move in. Got to keep an eye on Dawnbray, and on the other side, keep an eye on Perry, both trying to isolate someone so their teammates can engage on them.
And there, the TP is going to come out.
There's a hook.
The dredge line come through from Dawnbray. It's going to also be followed up by the depth charge immediately after. Nice little crescent guard there from Fnatic. It's going to be a lot of
big
damage.
shuffle.
Oh my gosh, what a huge Emperor's Divide. It's going to be a bunch of shutdowns. We get the stasis coming through, but it will be an immediately kill there on to Leo. Goes down. Beautiful shots coming from Array, and the stasis in response is only going to provide a triple kill here over to Array.
Oh, big fight coming through from 100 Thieves next, and you can see it. This is what I was talking about. Dawnbray ends up finding the angle. Daption gets deleted. I'm talking ended process by the task manager. The dude was not part of this fight in any meaningful capacity just because of how they isolated him. And because of that, you're down at the numbers advantage. The CC is there. The damage is there from members like Insanity and Fnatic who are so ahead. And what does that mean, Jolly? 100 next have soul points. They are one dragon away from that Infernal Soul, which is going to be a very big boon to the damage they already offer.
That's huge. And you know, it's nice that the Ocean Drake is picked up, but we're actually going to take a quick look at the replay on that fight.
Right, and I mean, watch Daption here. Ends up getting caught by the hook. He's gone, deleted. That's it. He's not part of the fight anymore here. And despite Faisal putting a lot of pressure onto Insanity, I think it's ultimately the shuffle coming through from Leo that allows a lot of this one to go the way it did, where that it wasn't a complete wipe here. A big shutdown is picked up by Jerry. Of course, Sketch gets to put some damage in too, but ultimately, because Array just continues to free fire in this fight, it's an easy win for 100 next.
Yeah. Very good job here, too, by Array to stay safe, and the rest of the team to ensure that Array stays safe, right? Because you got to give it over to Fnatic and Dawnbray to take the aggro in that situation. And the last person that you really want to continue to feed in this game picks up the triple kill. Array, sitting at a 700 gold bounty, is now well on his way to picking up the IE on top of the fact that he's already got the Collector and the Gale Force in his pocket here. 217, feeling very comfortable at about 20 creep over his opponent in Sketch. So even though Sketch had that early lead, we were literally looking at Array being 0-2-1.
Yep.
And he is now currently 6-2-5. He hasn't died a single time since the early parts of the game.
And things have been looking up for Array since we got out of the laning phase here. Now, seeing some vision game come through again, just around this Baron because it's the only thing to play for. We have our top laners battling out on the bottom side of the map here. Ultimately, this is a decent lead that has grown here for EG Prodigy, or rather for 100 next. But EG Prodigy still have ways that they can play this fight. They still have range. When you think about the damage that Sketch can do, even Daption, and maybe if you can pick somebody off with that pillar with Perry, they're still going to be able to get something done here. But it is just going to be that much harder because they're down 3k.
Yep. And 3k is, you know, not a huge amount, especially at 26 minutes in the game. When you consider the fact that there's one extra tower, there's 2 extra dragons. 100 Thieves next have been finding a lot of successful kills recently. They've been able to clear out some of the enemy jungle right here. EGP is absolutely holding on, and this is not by any means any sort of lost cause here for this team. There's still, I mean, even considering how many successful fights 100 Thieves next have had, we saw it in that last one. There were 3 members up and alive. That would have been a great opportunity for a Baron play, but it couldn't come through because Fnatic had gone down, Sniper had gone down, and you had Dawnbray who was sitting at so little health.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, the Baron take is not that huge, especially with, or that quick, excuse me. With 3 members being there for 100 Thieves next, it only makes it slower. You're happy with Soul Point, and it's nice. If you manage to hold on here, and allow this Baron to just stay on the map. When Soul comes up, you're going to put EG Prodigies in that really tough position where, okay, where 100 Thieves going to go? Trading Baron for Infernal Soul is honestly not going to be worth it here because that's a huge win con for 100 Thieves next at the moment. So now it's just EGP looking for an angle, looking for something they can do. Maybe they try and force a turn and go for that Baron. Maybe they try and get a pick on somebody. But either way, I think in a minute 30, EGPs are going to have a rough time.
Yeah, this is definitely 100 Thieves feeling more and more comfortable as the game goes on. And I do think it's, you know, a lot to say for Dombre to be on this Nautilus. We saw just in that last team fight, Daption get caught out, and that's it. I mean, that's a big player who's going to provide not just a lot of damage, but a lot of crowd control here for this team that is just instantly melted from the fight. And that means that Perry needs to get into the front line. Faisal needs to get into the front line, but it's so hard to do when you've got Dombre using the depth charge with Dredge lining in. You've got Fnatic crescent guarding everyone away. You've got the Chaos Storm trying to, you know, deal that AoE damage. And then on top of it, of course, Array and Sniper jumping all over the place, dealing as much damage as possible. So you're absolutely right, Beatdown. When it comes down to it, man, it's looking like more and more of an uphill climb here for EGP.
We're 40 seconds away from what could be 100 next Dragon Soul. I mean, let's look at Leo's build. He does have the Zonias. And if you look at the draft, yes, Perry can try to isolate someone with the pillar, but maybe it's going to be Leo going in with that shuffle and trying to make a huge play with that Emperor's Divine. It's something we should keep an eye out on. And the question now is, we're seeing those red going pings. Are they just going to move up and go for this Baron here? Or maybe they're just checking because EG Prodigies actually wrap around the bottom side of the map so they get a favorable position to try and zone 100 next.
Nice trap set up right there.
Oh,
Makes
look
it
at
pretty
Faisal
hard
too.
for 100 Thieves to get in here, and it's actually gonna be the curtain call that comes out.
Oh, Zonia's is gone.
It's the Zonia's that comes through. Gonna follow it up with that W, the Deadly Flourish from Array, but it's not enough, but it is enough for 100 Thieves next to say, hey, this is a 5v4 now. Out comes the Dredge Line after the depth charge. Gonna get locked down here as well. Perry will be the first one to go down. Leo comes through with a teleport, goes on to
that's one.
Beautifully done, so much damage, but doesn't have the Zonias up and available anymore, so Array is going to pick up yet another kill. Sniper turns gold right there after the Hextech Ultimatum comes out. Is not capable of using that. Fnatic needs to back away just a little bit, but it's still a very good position here for 100 Thieves next, and it is the Infernal Soul.
And I think that was great. Leo getting caught out in the mid lane with the curtain call, gets chunked, forced to use the Zonias, not able to effectively make that play because while they were waiting for him to recall and TP, Dombre says, all right, boys, send it. He goes for that flash hook, and just watch this. He ends up, it wasn't even a flash hook, I think. He just ends up catching Perry. Okay, he does flash, and there it is. No matter what, he's trying, he's ulting, but this troll just gets ripped to shreds. Trundle cannot be in this fight.
It's a good play, but if you're just going to pick up Dombre in that one as well and then instantly go down to Array, just continuing to feed this already fed player on 100 Thieves next, I mean, that was just a really messy fight, to be honest, by EGP, kind of from start to finish right there.
I mean, that's not even a fight they wanted at all. That's why you could see them trying to keep their distance, walk down the river, respecting the range of 100 Thieves engage. But what ends up happening is because Dombre flashes, because he catches the jungler of all people, that play ends up going badly, and here's another play.
Oh
my God.
That's too much damage onto Daption, and hey, that's totally worth it for that ultimate to come through. Yeah, it's true, they didn't want the fight, but you know what? They took the long walk down and around the Dragon Pit. They are the ones that put themselves in a bad position, and they tried to set up traps, so they were trying to look for maybe some good positioning to try to fight, to try to prevent 100 Thieves next from getting anything here, and of course now it's going to be Perry, who gets caught out one more time, tries to flash away from this, does use the Subjugate. Get a little bit more sustainability here, but it's gonna take his
my God!
Perry walked back into the curtain call.
I think he's trying to go left and right, trying to see if he can read him, but the slow from that trap really just didn't help either. Lands all 4 shots. We're gonna see the replay here, the 1v1, and wow, yeah, Sniper just starts it off with that grand challenge. I think he wins this. Maybe he doesn't win this. No, he gets shut down by Faisal.
He does not. I mean, you take way too many tower shots and something like that. Sniper just went a little too far in. The Baron has been started here by 100.
Oh, that's a big
not
shuffle.
enough, though. Out comes the final spark. It's going to be 2 massive shutdowns here. Dombre tries to do something on the backside. It's too much damage. Sniper, in the meantime, has found out Dabster. The blast cone does not work in their favor. It's going to be Hextech Ultimatum again on to Fnatic here. Faisal has to jump out of it. Sniper continuing to go for Sketch, and it's going to be the deadly flourish from Array that picks up the kill. What looked like a horrible fight for 100 Thieves next, losing 2 members at the very beginning, turns into a very successful fight.
Well, man, that's probably one of the best chances EGP we're going to get. We saw that big shuffle from Leo, but he was actually looking like he didn't even get to use that Zhonya's Hourglass. He doesn't get the stasis. It looked like he just ended up exploding very, very quickly, and because he doesn't manage to buy that time after the shuffle, no DPS coming through, no damage for EG Prodigies, and it means 100 Thieves next. Maybe it'll be a little slow, but they are going to take this Baron. They're just they're being bros. They're waiting for their boy Insanity to come back before they secure it.
2 seconds, 1 second. Now everybody gets the Baron buff. Everybody's happy. You love to see teamwork like that. And Fnatic recognizes I can take a couple more shots, a couple more little flips here by this Baron Nashor before we can pick that up. And now it's the Baron buff for almost 3 minutes. It's the Infernal Dragon Soul. It's having 8 kills up on the opposition now. And we are looking at about, what, a 6K gold lead for 100 Thieves next. So very quickly, what seemed like such an even-keeled game with less than a 2K differential between these two teams throughout the entirety has flipped the script.
At the moment, there are objective bounties. If EG Prodigies can make it to those inner turrets on the other side of the map. I mean, technically, Elder would count as 1 too, but it's going to be tough. They'll be hard-pressed to actually manage to win that fight here. It's going to take something huge.
Oh, it's going to be picked up here. It is Array, I believe, that got that kill with the curtain call. Has been using it very, very efficiently. Dawnbreak finds a nice hook there. Ace in the hole comes out, but it's on to Dawnbreak. Same thing with the Hextech Ultimatum on the backside. Again, Faisal immediately has to leave it. And these members of 100 Thieves next are just invading beyond multiple towers. They are eating up the members of EGP, and they're looking to end the game right here, right now, beatdown.
No top side of the map. You can absolutely do that, Jolly. 100 Thieves next, poised to take the first game here in the quarterfinals and put EGP's backs against the wall.
It was almost 34 minutes. We can see Leo tried to go in to do something, but it's just padding the stats for 100 Thieves next. They're totally okay with that. Out comes the final spark, but there is no damage backing Daption right now, who ended 1, 5, and 10. EG Prodigies pushed this out as long as they possibly could, but it's going to be 100 Thieves who say, nope, this game number 1 is absolutely ours.
And things were tight for a while, too. That's the thing. But after some time, it's just these small little plays here that 100 Thieves ended up making past that mid game to actually break the gold tie that was existing for so long here between the two of them. I think a real key one was to letting them stack the dragons on the side of 100 Thieves next. I think part of it is they were partially forced that way by 100 Thieves next being able to stop that Herald play, forcing Perry to use it on the other side of the map, and that's how the stacking of Drakes really got started to get there for 100 Thieves, and of course catching out Leo just before that 4th dragon fight ends up coming through means you had that 5v4 that 100 Thieves were happy to take.
Well, we do have 100 Thieves going into this one at game point. EG Prodigies
there you go.
Have selected, yeah, it's so early in the day, we can't be going there yet. EGP has selected the blue side, but we are going to take a very quick break. Before that, of course, hey, Skull stuff, right? If you're looking to upgrade your gamer gear, look no further. You start your 2022 off right with official unified esports merchandise brought to you by Skulls. There's hoodies, there's joggers, there's jerseys, there's armbands, and a lot more coming soon as well. You got the skill? Now, might as well get the swag for it. It's Skulls, SKULLZ.com/collections/unify. That's got everything that you're looking for. Gear up, game on, Skulls. We will be right back with more Proving Grounds.